Hello everyone, welcome to Pep Coding. So, in our fourth chapter, Emerging Trends, now we've moved on to our third subtopic, that is Internet of Things. Internet of Things is a very demanding topic in a demanding domain in the current timeline. Let us learn together what is Internet of Things. So, Internet of Things, it's totally influencing our lifestyle from the way we react to the way we behave. Like, what is Internet of Things actually? Like, coming, IoT is a system of interrelated devices connected to the internet to transfer and receive data from one to another. So basically what it does is it's a totally IoT is a giant network. IoT is a giant network with connected devices. These devices, what it does, it gathers and shares their data or information on how they are used, how they are actually used. They share the data, like if we are pressing the button of a remote, how the signals are gone, how, like, where the signals are gone, everything is going to the internet, and that from that internet it is being received, it is sent back, the signals. Likewise, like from an AC that you can control with your smartphone to the smart cars, like providing the shortest route whenever you're traveling. You get the shortest route if you're using an IoT based smart car that provides you the shortest route to any destination. Coming likewise to the smart watches, if you're also using smart watches, what happens, it tracks your day to day activities, it tracks your health status. Everything comes under IoT. If we are talking about AC, suppose take an example. If I would be a person and if I would be working in an office, like and at my home, if I've on my AC right now, and I literally I got an emergency and I left for an office, and at that point what happened is AC is still on at home. Now what happens when I'm in office, I'm working in office, but this AC is, like, it's being wasted, the electricity is being wasted, and if I need to off that AC, I need to travel back home and I need to off that AC and I need to go back to office and again work back. So this is a very time taking activity, as well as uh, it will totally degrade. Actually, this is what used to happen previously, but now what iot has IoT has provided is IoT has given you sensors. Now what you can do is, if you have on your AC, unfortunately you've reached office right now, that and also left your AC on at home. Now what you can do, IoT has provided you very efficient thing, that is with your smartphone only you can off the AC sitting at the office. You can off the AC which is on at your home. So this is what IoT provides, and this total route, you do not need to travel back home, off the AC, travel back to office again, start working. Sitting at here only, you can off the AC via your smartphone. That is all done because of IoT, that is Internet of Things. Things here, things is that mobile phone as well as AC, and what is in between, that is internet. So basically that is why it is said Internet of Things. So coming to our next slide, so as I already mentioned that IoT actually is a new age technology that allows computing devices that can be programmed and can connect to internet, as smart ACs that I already mentioned in the above example, a smart heart monitor chip. I'll also be giving an example for an heart monitor chip to transfer data over a network like internet without requiring human to human or human to computer interaction. Out here also, when we saw the example of an AC, what we saw is that AC, in an AC, what we could do, we could directly, like, we could off the AC sitting at our office. But in an, like, what happens now, if you would not have used IoT, then like you had to travel this long distance and again you had to move back to the office and home, like that would be a route. So what, so this is the main thing that is being done because of the internet. So because of internet, what happens is this thing, like from a mobile you're transferring data, you're offing the AC, and from AC, from internet only, that internet is offing the AC, it is again sending back signals. If you want to on AC, it is sending signals, likewise sending data from one to another. Applications of IoT, there are various applications of IoT like health and fitness, to of AC or applications connected, appliances connected to the internet, hospitals, smart cities, farming, variables, industrial internet, etc. So I'll also explain what actually some of the examples mean out here. So health and fitness, I'll take two cases. One case will be a case where IoT is being used, and one case would be normal, a case where IoT is not being used. So what happens in this case is that in normal case, like let's assume that a person, god forbid, but if a person gets heart attack at, like he gets the symptoms of heart attack, his heart starts paining at 1 a.m. So at 1 a.m. in the midnight, if he is if he is facing heart issues, if his heart is paining, if he's getting a heart attack, what will he do at that moment? He'll try calling, in normal life I'm talking about the normal scenario. In normal scenario, what he'll do, he'll try calling his homemates, like whoever his family members is present at home, he'll try calling them, he'll try reaching them out as soon as possible. Now what will they do? The family members will come to him and they'll ask what happened. They'll see that his heart is paining, they'll try getting some cab taxis. And also remember, at 1 a.m. in the midnight, it's very tough. Yeah, like it's very tough to get a cab or a taxi at 1 a.m. midnight. So at that point, suppose that he even gets the cab, then they'll be taking him to the hospital. After taking him to the hospital, what happens? They'll say the doctor that his heart is paining. Then the doctor will very fast, he'll try to examine the patient, and like what problems does he actually have. Then the doctor will see those problems and then he'll operate accordingly. But it may be unfortunate, we never know what can happen in this time span. It can anything can happen, god forbid. But in the normal time, it was really a very long time taking. But I'll compare the same thing with an IoT device. Now what happens in an IoT device? If the same person is getting a heart problem, heart attack at 1 a.m., his heart is paining, he gets the symptoms of heart attack. So what happens if he's using a IoT, like a IoT machine, like if he's using a smart watch? So what it does, it actually like checks the mental, like, or health status of the patient. Like suppose that status was always like normal, the heart rate was always normal, and in between, if the like heart rate comes very fluctuating, or like he gets, the machine reads an undesired data, like or unexpected data, let's say unexpected data, machine reads an unexpected data. So what the machine will do, it will send signals out there to the nearest hospital, indeed, that is like connected. So when an IoT based thing is like working, so it will send the signals or the data to the nearest hospital present out there. So the doctors, like, they'll see, or the whosoever person is operating the IoT out there, they'll see actually, yeah, at this point the patient, here is a patient who is having a heart problem, and they'll, as soon as possible, they'll send an ambulance out there. No human intervention out here. So they'll send an ambulance out here. After getting the ambulance, what will happen, they'll directly take the patient, and in between this road, also in between this road, the doctor out here in the hospital, he'll continuously check the status of the patient. And what will happen after checking the status of the patient, he'll accordingly do the prerequisites, what, like, where to keep, where to shift the patient, where to, like, what are the treatments that is required for the patient. Likewise, the doctor will do everything in prerequisites only, so that as soon as the patient is brought, the treatment can be done. Out here, the patient was taken, then the doctor examined, then after his treatment was done, and anything could happen in this long time span. But in an IoT, when he's traveling, also when he's put into ambulance and he's being brought to the hospital, in between also the doctor will continuously check his heart status, his health status, and likewise the doctor will arrange stuffs for that patient. And as soon as the patient is brought to the bed, the doctor will start the treatment. In between, the examine process and all won't be done, because the doctor has already examined him while coming. So this timeline may save a person's life at this point. So this is how IoT is literally beneficial in today's era. Likewise, taking some example, yeah, farming. So farming, I can take an example. Suppose that what happens if you have a garden. Suppose in a garden, You never know, like you have to again and again go and check the garden whether the soil is like moist or whether it is dried. So if it is dried, you need to come and water the garden out here. So what happens here, human work is required out here. So to water the garden also, human needs to do it by himself. But if in this normal time, you like the human has to, suppose that human has gone somewhere and like the garden is not being watered, it's been dried, the garden will totally be destroyed. But what happens in, like when we are using an IoT, what happens is that there will be sensors. I like the main role out here in the IoT is internet as well as sensors. So what will happen is we have sensors. So what will these sensors do? It will continuously check, like it will sense the mud, whether it is like moist, whether it's fertile or not, whether it is dried. If it is dried, then at that point what it will do, it will send signals to actuators. It will send signals to actuators. Now actuators, this is also an IoT device. Sensors is also an IoT device. Now actuators, what it does, it will convert the signal that has come from the sensors. Now it will convert these signals in the form of motion. And as soon as it converts this signals in the form of motion, this motion, what it will do is it will automatically start watering the garden, and the garden will again be proper and moist again, like water gardening water, like water has already been spread into the garden, water has been given to the garden. So in this way, no human man work is totally zero. Man doesn't need to come and check whether the garden is like dried or not. In normal time, man had to come. In case man cannot come, the person cannot come, then what happens, the garden may be destroyed. But if you're using an IoT, if you're using IoT devices like sensors, actuators, what it does, it will automatically water the garden whenever it is required. So this is how IoT is literally beneficial in industries also. You can see, like I was talking about even barcodes. Yeah, I also have mentioned out here about barcodes. So what actually is barcode? So barcode is also like a device that is being produced or that uses IoT. Like it can, like barcodes, when I talk about barcodes, so all barcode readers use a light source and sensors to detect and measure the intensity of light reflected back by the white spaces within the unique pattern of the parallel bars. You can see a barcode, like it is somewhat like this, a barcode. So it will, like how it will use an IoT, that whenever light will be passed to it, so it will reflect back the light from the white spaces. Like the sensors are already been embedded, and it will reflect back via the sensors, it will be reflecting. Likewise in industrial, the barcodes are used. These barcodes, like even in the AC machine you can see, or any, if you're buying a smartphone, you see a barcode. Nowadays everything is a embedded with barcodes, because barcodes are also embedded with sensors, and these sensors are devices of IoT. So here also IoT comes into main role. So coming down to more, like as I already mentioned, that IoT is a system of interrelated device connected to the internet to transfer and receive data from one to another. One will send, one will receive, one will again send back, one will receive. Likewise, no human intervention is required. A smart home is the best example of an IoT. So yeah, I'll also be like relating this. Suppose you have a CCTV camera out here, and in out here means at the door of your house. Someone is like ringing the doorbell, and you're sitting, like you're resting at your home. It may be anyone. If it's your relative, if it's a criminal, if it's a thief, or it may be anyone. So for opening the door, you need to travel, like you need to go back, like you need to get up from your bed, you need to go to the door, you need to open, you need to check whether who is the person. If it's a relative, then no worries, you need to actually open the door after all. But in case we take the worst case, that if someone, a criminal, is present outside the door for robbing the house, he's totally armed, he's having weapons. So what happens in that case? Like the CCTV will, now what IoT, how IoT plays a major role out here in security also, that IoT, what it does, it will like basically if the CCTV is present at the door, so via internet, what you can do is you can check the camera footage from your home only, live camera visuals from your home, from your bed only, that who is the person who is ringing my doorbell. So you'll see the door. Okay, if it's the relative, you'll go and open the door. But in case what the condition I took is if it's a criminal who is armed with weapons, so if he has come to rob your house, then you'll be shocked. And in case, like, you'll be shocked out there, and like you can directly call the police, and you can save your life, you can save your house from being robbed. But in normal time, what would happen if you would have opened the door slowly little bit also, and if you would have seen, then the like criminal could do anything. He could push the door, he could fire, he could do anything with the weapons. But at this moment, what happens, he's continuously ringing the bell. But you can see the same thing from your mobile phone, that is IoT, that is linked via internet, from your mobile, from your smartphone, and you can directly call the police. And in this case, due to this internet of things, due to this IoT technology only, you can save your life, you can save your home from being robbed. There are various plenty of examples, because IoT itself is a giant network. It's a giant network which is placed all over. Also, that like in 2018, experts had said that it was observed that 23 billion IoT devices were found all over the world, which is two times the world population. Just imagine, two times the world population devices, 23 billion IoT devices were found all over the world, were found worldwide. And it's also expected, this point is also important, that it's also expected that in 2025, around 80 billion IoT devices will be placed all over the world. So this is how IoT is spreading in very fast manner. Today, IoT is being used extensively to lessen the burden on humans, like watering the garden, as I already mentioned, using sensors and actuators. In emergency cases that I already mentioned, that patient, unfortunately, he gets a heart pain, and in the normal case, what happens is, in the normal case, like he may like lose his life. But in a IoT, when he's using an IoT device, what may happen, that he may save his life, the doctors may save his life. In normal case, it may take long time, but in IoT case, it may take a short span. He may, like, by God's grace, he may save his life. Likewise, IoT is literally very beneficial, and IoT today is increasing day by day in tremendously. It's lessening the burden on humans. So this is how IoT is very important. I hope you got a lot to learn. Stay tuned for upcoming videos. We are going to learn about cloud computing, we are going to learn about blockchain technologies. These two are also a major topic in this chapter. Stay tuned with pep coding, and see you in the upcoming video. Thank you.